Sonia Brubaker for a panel discussion titled City of Miami's Comprehensive Approach to Pollution Prevention. There you are.
Hi, good afternoon. Hey, I am Sonia Brubaker. If we haven't met before, I am the Chief Resilience Officer for the City of Miami, and I also serve as our Director of our Office of Resilience and Sustainability. And so I'm here with my colleagues today. We're talking about the City of Miami's comprehensive approach to pollution prevention. The City of Miami works really hard to prevent pollution from entering our bay. In my office, the Office of Resilience and Sustainability. Let's see if I can get the clicker. There we go. This is how we look at climate change in Miami. We look at floods, storms, heat, and the economy. It's really the environment is our economy here. And here in my office, the Office of Resilience and Sustainability, we work to prevent pollution by educating people and by working with our fellow departments. And so with the fertilizer ordinance that the city has, it's very similar if you're familiar with the county ordinance as well as some other cities nearby. But this is prohibiting fertilizer, the application of fertilizer across the city from the middle of May to the end of October. And so we let landscapers as well as residents know about this ordinance. We do this at tree giveaways. We do this with PSAs through our social media as well as some digital kiosks here in the city. And so we've developed flyers when we are tabling. And every time I talk about this, somebody says, I didn't know about this. And so we continue to do this outreach every year. And this year in particular, we're looking at sending out mailers to some high-risk areas in the city. Also, this year, my office has worked on some storm drain art. The last presentation was talking about some storm drain education. And so we received a grant from the Ocean Conservancy to install artwork that communicates the importance of what happens when litter goes down the drain and how it gets into our waterways. And so we worked with FIU to identify a class, an art class that developed some artwork. And then our Arts and Public Places Board actually took a look at it and voted on one. And so there was a winner who got a cash prize. And now her artwork is actually stenciled on some of our storm drains here in the city. But I don't work alone. I work with all of these wonderful people here on the panel that you're going to hear more about, and they're going to tell us what they are doing. So I have right to my right, I have Annie Perez. She's the director of our Department of Procurement. And then I have Clara Sidan. She's the assistant director that focuses on stormwater in our Department of Resilience and Public Works. And then I have David Dixon, who is our assistant director in our Department of Solid Waste. So I feel like I need to shift my chair a little bit. I feel like we need to have more of a conversation. We're gonna start with Clara. So we'll start in the middle. And so Clara's gonna discuss the operation and maintenance of our stormwater management system and how it removes and prevents pollution from the waterways. So Clara, can you talk through how the city's stormwater system actually works from street to bay and where pollution is intercepted along the way?
It's more than operations and maintenance. The first point of collection is having the infrastructure to collect the runoff and convey it to different ways, right? We have, depending on the facility, the space, we have swells, we have exfiltration trenches, we have pollution control structures, we have baffles, we have backflow preventers, and inlet screens. We have a few locations that we're working with SOP that we're implementing. We actually work with Emilio on some modifications because we have to balance the control of the debris and sediment going into the infrastructure, but also the flooding. Because if we had several issues that there was flooding and people would remove or damage those screens, so we work closely with Emilio to work a solution to prevent flooding, so we wouldn't have those issues. And once we have the infrastructure, we have to maintain it. And so we have different contractors, and we have our own operations. Having back to truck, I see that we have one of our contractors here. We have we were approved additional budget 3-4 years ago after a big storm event to increase the frequency of maintenance, mainly for inlets, exfiltration trenches, all the closed systems, to make sure that they are operating to the level of efficiency that we need. Not only for flooding, but it prevents additional debris from going into the waterways. In addition to that, we have other services for more specialized services that are not on necessarily on a 2-year, because it takes longer and it's more costly to clean the cover ditches, and that's more of a manual labor, and the drainage wells. So that's basically to make sure that we're removing all the debris, we're identifying deficiencies, if there are roots or if there are pipes that are broken, so we can allocate a project for that. We also work with solid waste to identify the streets that we have more issues with debris going into the system, into the pump stations. And we have coordinated with the limits of street sweeping. What else? We've applied to grants to implement those vortex hydrodynamic separators on existing systems, so we can retrofit it and you know, at least retain the sediments and the debris. We also have canal cleaning contracts, so when it does get to the canals, we have a mechanism to clean it. And construction site inspections. All that construction that we have going around in Miami, we have inspectors for all the sites that have soil disturbing activities to make sure that they have the correct measures to prevent the sediments from construction going into the drain. That's really important. Not only that's when you get flumes in the bay, but also it sometimes it solidifies in the pipes, and it's a big issue for us. So we have the inspectors checking the silt fences, the inlet protection, and if they're not in compliance, we issue a violation until they correct those deficiencies. And we have illegal inspections, illegal discharge. All the inspectors are basically proactively looking that they're not dewatering from a site that they shouldn't be, that if they don't have a permit, and that they're not discharging residues from restaurants or from paint or for car washes. So basically it's a day-to-day proactive inspection.
So Clara, you talked a little bit about it, but what types of pollutants are you most focused on removing?
Based on all the feedback from the county, from the state, we're looking at nutrients, right, and nitrogen and phosphorus and bacteria, and that's a way that we actually measure the tons that are removed from the streets, the tonnage that is removed from the system, and we can estimate what the amount of debris that is collected and what that signifies as far as removing those pollutants. And we also have actually water quality testing in the city canals.
And so we see a picture here of the Scavenger 2000. So do you want to talk about that and how much it's collecting?
The Scavenger, I mean, I don't have the exact numbers of tonnage, but this is a vessel that goes into the navigable waters that there's some designated areas along the bay, the Miami River and Little River, that it doesn't only collect debris, but also oxygenates the water that promotes the reduction of bacteria in the water. That's in the navigable waters. We are testing other equipment for canals that are not navigable, or devices. We're testing other devices for the canals that the Scavenger cannot reach.
All right, and is there, can you talk a little bit about how the routine maintenance helps provide measurable water quality improvements?
Routine maintenance, again, the Vector trucks, Monday through Friday, we have 2 contractors on board, and we have our operations. We do have, we keep track of our maintenance grid to make sure that the systems are clean within the 2-year period. We do get quantities from the amount that it's collected from our operations. We're working with the contractors to get that volume or that amount. But basically, is everything that making sure that 2-year frequency is maintained, because that's basically where everything it's going and collected from.
And much of the larger pieces are plastic.
There's plastic, there's yard clippings, we found car pieces. You'll be amazed how big the debris is that gets into the inlets. And that's part of the inlet filters that provide that protection in the more urban settings, that we work with SOP to identify those priority locations. Oops, sorry. Based on the pedestrian traffic, the curb inlets that have a larger opening, and that's what we concentrate in solid waste as well, to prevent the debris. When you have a more residential area with swells, it's not that prone to get to have the debris going into the infrastructure.
Oh, that's interesting.
We do have also some areas that are known with that going to the pump stations, and we have concentrated in those areas as well, because we have tons and tons of debris going into the pump stations, blocking the functionality of the pump station. And ultimately, everything ends up in the canals or Biscayne Bay. So it's not. I don't think that everything it's measured on a volume wise, because we can only capture some of the contract, but we're working on capturing more to document it.
All right. Thanks, Clara. And next we're going to hear from David, who's going to talk about cleaning it up before it gets to the bay. So, David, street sweeping is often overlooked. Not here. I heard about the last the last presentation. So we think about it here, but in the city, not everybody thinks about it. So how does it function? How do you see it? Is it functioning as a true frontline defense for protecting the bay?
So definitely, good afternoon, everyone. Definitely the street sweeper, as far as solid waste, Department of Solid Waste is concerned, is the lifeline and the front apparatus that's utilized in the city just for appropriate and proper maintenance of streets, particularly along the Bayside area, Edgewater, Coconut Grove. So we have a nightly schedule. We have 2 sweepers that are out between the period of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., canvassing the major thoroughfares of the city of Miami, as well as the Edgewater, Coconut Grove, and shoreline areas of Biscayne Bay. Additionally, during king tide season, as it was mentioned about the pumping station, we pay special attention with our 10 pumping stations throughout the city of Miami to make sure that those roadways are cleared from any excessive debris that would clog the pumping stations from operating to normal capacity. So additionally, Sonia, we have in solid waste, we have sanitation, solid waste inspectors. So those inspectors are passionate, along with myself. You know, we're on foot patrol in Edgewater, Coconut Grove. You know, we care about our bay. So we're out there, and sometimes when I'm driving to work, I'm screaming, "No, what are you doing?" Because I see the blowers out there early, the landscapers, and they're blowing what they've cut into the street. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. So we have a team of inspectors. We provide bi-weekly Wednesday education sessions. As we see those landscapers, we cite them and tell them, you need to attend our class. So, and they get a little certificate after the class, just, you know, that they can tote around, recognizing that they're city certified, you know, they've been through the proper education, and they know the do's and don'ts of how clipping should be discarded. So that education has been proven to be a great success. We had a session, today's Wednesday, I saw 20 people today in the class. So just our initiative is more education. If you know more, you'll do better. So we've been on a push for the past year and a half of just providing that landscaping education. Our inspectors have gone out to the various communities, especially along the seaside, educational blitz. Just, again, passing out our materials, the do's and the don'ts. We even encourage our citizens to sign up for our service alerts. At any particular time, we'll send out alerts to the citizens in the city of Miami, you know, just letting them know, hey, your trash route is going to be slowed today. We won't be able to do sweeping on this particular street. So please see me in the back if you'd like to scan the barcode to have a service alert go to your cellular phone every day, or at least twice a week, we'll send something out. Not every day, not every day. Additionally, again, just working in close partnership with my colleague here, our inspectors, they have daily routes that they cover. We have daily reports from our vendor who's doing our street sweeping. So they'll provide us breadcrumbs. So we'll be able to go into the system, did they really go down Biscayne Boulevard today? And so we have a way to go into our system to track where that sweeper has been. So when some of our constituents call, they didn't come down here today. And I'm like, may I have your address again, please? And then if they want, I'll send them an email of evidence. Sir, we were down your block today. So again, just remaining proactive, just having a heart and a passion for a cleaner Miami. You know, I have a great inspector team, you know, who try to work collaboratively with our constituents, and we work together. And that's what it's going to take, a lot of education and having a trusting relationship between solid waste and our citizens. Hey, Dave, can you come check this area out? It looks like it's just a lot of trash by the storm drainage. So we do have a group of employees. They're called the Community Enhancement Team. They will go out, brooms and boots, and will go out and sweep even the storm drain, because I know sometimes the vector is more for the vacuuming, but if it's just a paper cup on top of the storm drain, we'll dispatch our team to various areas of the city, particularly focusing on that Edgewater, Coconut Grove area, to just make sure it's as compliant as possible.
Do you ever see illegal dumping into waterways?
So, Edgewater, we did have an issue with illegal dumping, the plastic bags, car grease, things of that nature. And we actually worked with Miami Police Department to set up surveillance cameras, particularly in that Edgewater area. It's been effective. Other areas of our city, it's a little bit more challenging. Alapata, the dumping sign is there, and some folks will just dump right in front of the sign. So we still have a way to go, but we're moving in the right direction with partnership with Miami Police. Our inspectors are not able to arrest anyone, but that's where Miami Police, we partner with them. As we see it, we report it quickly, and Miami Police Department, Solid Waste has a few surveillance cameras in our hotspot areas. So they're watching right away, and there are times where we have called and they're already at the location or have caught the person. I would say for year 2025, I believe there were 45 arrests for illegal dumping. Definitely a work in progress.
Wow. Yeah, echoing that from the crowd. So you mentioned lawn clippings. You mentioned plastic bags. What are you seeing that's needing to be cleaned up?
So, with the help of the commissioner offices, particularly District 3, District 4, we have designated days per month for community cleanup. So at the inspiration of the various commissioners, we'll all gather out there. The neighbors are out there sweeping in front of their area. We're running our sweepers down the street. Again, what I see prevalent the most in some areas where it's high rent areas, you know, it's transient. People are constantly moving out. They're throwing the sofa on the street, or there's been an increase in evictions. So again, the educational blitzes, we will go to those multi-dwelling units to provide education. Hey, you live in a unit where they have their own private hauler. Please continue to work with the landlord, and the private hauler provides a schedule of when they come. So we have our materials again of the do's and don'ts, and our code inspectors are out there. When they see the bulky there, they will go knock on doors, contact the owner, and give them 24 hours to have it removed from that swale, or then again we start the citations.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, David. Now we're going to go to Annie to talk about our city's internal plastic-free policy to prevent plastics from entering circulation. So Annie, the city has recently taken steps towards an internal plastic-free policy. What will that look like in practice across departments?
So in practice, let's start with procurement, right? Very important. We will be putting a contract clause banning single-use plastics and polystyrene from concessionaires within the city of Miami. So one of the challenges, right, is there's a Florida statute, there's a preemption that prohibits any city or government from banning plastics, polystyrene from the public. What does that mean? From businesses, residents. So we've taken the side, the way we go around that is we've taken the side of proprietary. We, the City of Miami, is doing what we can within what we control, which is our properties, our buildings, our marinas, anything that we control within our purview, we can put the ban. So starting with my department, we have a contract clause we're gonna be inserting in all future contracts for concessionaires that prohibits any single-use plastics or polystyrene. And we're also going to do, David talked about, and so did Clara, about education. Education is very important, right? So we are going to be doing an industry day for those concessionaires and people, interested in the future to, being a concessionaire. We just right now have our cafeteria vendor picked up and left over the weekend and without notice. So there will be an opportunity there. So we'll start fresh with them, right from the get-go. So it's a contract clause that's going to go into all the contracts. They have about a year to be in compliance, right? And I believe that the change that we're going to make is going to be incredible, because not only is it we're doing the right thing, right? And stopping all these plastics from getting into our waterways and into our bodies, actually, as well. And the change that we can effectuate is, it's also an education process for our employees. We have over close to 5,000 employees, and we can educate them as well through the Plastic-Free 305. So then moving along, we have our internal facilities. We have the Department of Real Estate and Asset Management and GSA, General Services Administration. So DREAM, as we affectionately call them, DREAM manages a lot of our properties, like the, the theaters, Virginia Key, the area where Marine Stadium is. They manage a lot of our properties. And then we have GSA, who recently inherited the marinas, which I think they're going to do phenomenal managing those. So they also we're going to be placing any vendors that sell, in any of these marinas or venues, will also be placing that ban, right? So again, what we can control, we can't control everything, but baby steps. And then of course our Parks Department, we are strongly encouraging for special permits to, like, if you want to rent the park to do an event, we'll be creating a clause for their special events permit to also encourage, can't force it on them, but we can encourage to not use single-use plastics or polystyrene. So.
1 minute left.
And that's perfect timing. Do you want to take the last minute?
Sure. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about procurement and how we influence upstream pollution, right? Prevention. We tackle it at the source. How do we do that? Through contracts. Plastic-Free 305 is a perfect example of how procurement can effectuate serious change. And it's by creating barriers, and we can create those barriers through our contracts. So, procurement is always seen as, it's an internal department and what have you, but we can significantly effectuate change and education. And, right now I'm working with Sonia's group. We want to do an industry day for inviting resilient type of construction construction materials, and inviting all of our current construction contractors, trying to shift the paradigm of, the whole, concrete. No, there's permeable, asphalt. There's other alternatives. Our living seawalls. Kind Designs has, a lot of our contractors use Kind Designs. They have amazing, living seawalls. And it's so progressive. And there's so many other vendors out there that are like that. And we want to expose them to the construction industry so we can shift that paradigm.
And I'm just going to end with, I love these solutions. Thank you, everyone.